Hi and welcome to another episode of Scorecard here on Citi TV. My name is Daniel Cranting. This is a show that wraps up all the weekend sport in action and gives you some perspective to what you saw. And if you missed it, you can all catch the highlights here on Citi TV. My name again is Daniel Cranting. We'll take a quick break. When I come back, I will introduce my guests and we'll get the show on the road. Welcome back. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. My name is Daniel Cranting. This show is for you. You can join the conversation on the WhatsApp line 0550 585 832 and on Scorecard, hashtag Scorecard on Twitter, and I'll read all the messages that come through. Let me introduce my guests now. It's Emmanuel Nubo and Susu Graham are here with me again. Hi, guys.
I'm good.
I know you are good. I know why you are good. But we'll get there later.
Yeah, but we'll get there later.
So I like your Egyptian jersey.
Thank you.
One
game, one trophy. So I'm in a good mood.
I don't want to entertain you.
Obama needs one game, one trophy.
Yeah, so it cancels out.
It cancels out. Mane versus Salah and then Nunez versus
Haaland.
You mean Obroni Lukaku?
As for Haaland, so now you've taken the Obroni Lukaku to a different person.
No, you see, Nunez be the South American Lukaku, then Haaland be the Scandinavian Lukaku. Lukaku is the blueprint.
Agenda never sleeps. We'll start off with our first game. We are here locally, the Black Galaxies. That's the Black Stars B, or formerly known as the Black Stars B, the local Black Stars team. They've played against Benin in the second leg of their first round CHAN qualifier. And remember, Ghana won the first leg 3-0 here in Cape Coast, and they had to go to Benin and finish up the job. And they did. It ended by 1-0. So Ghana win by 4-goal aggregate score, and they progress to the next round. And guess who Ghana faces in the next round, which is also the final round of qualifiers? Ghana's biggest rivals, Nigeria. So to be Ghana-Nigeria in the final CHAN qualifier to see if the Black Galaxies can book a place at the CHAN competition to be held in Algeria. Remember, Ghana hasn't qualified for the last 3 editions. They are hoping to make a return for the first time since, I think, 2015. Guys, it was job done. We said it would be difficult last week. Going away from home on the African terrain can be very difficult, but the Black Galaxies did the job.
Well, I think the first leg scoreline made it a bit more comfortable for them. It gave them a bit more confidence to go out there, knowing that Benin will have to come out them if they will have any chance to qualify. And that puts you in a better position to approach the game tactically, and also it calms the nerves on your players, especially going away. So for them, I think, I wouldn't say it was a walk in the park, but half of the job had already been done here. And then going to Benin, it made it easier for them, especially not to draw, but to win also. Gives them confidence going into the next round, especially when you're facing your arch nemesis, which is Nigeria, which will be a very, very interesting encounter. But then also, they will need to clean up some of the defensive acts, as we've seen in the video, if you're going to play against Nigeria, because they will definitely be a better side, and you want to qualify into the tournament proper. So that's one thing I think I'll be looking out for the team to improve on.
Susu?
Well, I mean, like you said, even though we don't have the job, you still expect them to beat Benin. I mean, look at the quality of Beninese teams when they go to Africa. You don't hear much about them, but we have a rich history of our teams kind of performing well in African competitions. So, and considering these are local players, you would expect our players to do a good job. But it's good to see them get the win. It's good that they kept up the momentum and they got the win. You win 3-0, you win 1-0. It's a solid platform to build on going against Nigeria. The Nigerian league seems to be better than our league currently, so you'd expect better players to be there. So it'd be a tough act to follow. But I have hope for the Black Galaxy. Sorry.
Because the Black Stars.
Yeah, Black Galaxy. No, I have a problem with the name because a galaxy is a group of stars. Exactly. So I feel like the Black Galaxies, it means that they are higher than the Black Stars.
It's a group of local stars.
Yes. I like the interpretation there. But yes, Nigeria is going to be very difficult for the Black Galaxies. It's never too easy. It's never easy when you're facing your bitter rivals. And this draws into question the qualifying format again. The fact that Ghana will have to go through Nigeria We saw it at the junior levels with the on the women's side. We saw it in the Black Queens. We are seeing it again here.
I think that format, people need to make more noise about it for it to be relooked at, because as you can see, even with the evidence of the women's AFCON, you don't get the best of the teams there.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't give the tournament the best outlook. So I think that whole restructuring has to be looked at again, so that you have the best teams on the continent going there, not just one and a bunch of minnows. Then it doesn't give a proper representation to the international feed. I think we would have to look at it, because I don't think it's the best.
I really have to disagree a slight bit. I understand what you say on a competitive level, but you also have to consider the cost implications if it was to be randomized by continent. We know there's not a lot of money in our game, so even at the junior and women's levels, even less money. So I think it would be very difficult for certain countries if they have to, let's say we are facing the Seychelles under-17s. For the Seychelles to sort out the money, fly an under-17 team here, hotels, that kind of stuff, before we also have to fly back. It's kind of difficult. It's a strain on budgets of certain countries. So we have to also consider that fact that despite the fact that it's not ideal for football purposes, we also have to consider the logistics and the more financial aspects of it. Not every country will be willing to send a team all the way. Even at senior level, we see sometimes teams drop out because of traveling expenses and that kind of stuff. So at junior and for women's football, it could be even more difficult. While I sympathize with CAF and it's not ideal, we are not in a situation where we have that much investment in our game. So sometimes keeping some of these costs down is in our interest to at least have people get the chance to play. Because I feel like maybe if you look at certain countries and you're putting that kind of pressure on them to fly all the way across the continent for qualifiers, it's a disincentive. They'll think to themselves, look, is it really worth the money to fly these boys here to go and lose 6-0, then fly them back, and then we have to host these people and we lose 4-0? I don't know. I'm just trying to see.
You make a good point.
You know, it's just, we have to think about this. It's unfortunate, but it's always, and Africa is a huge continent, so there's also that. I mean, if it was a smaller continent, I mean, look at South America. It's a big continent too, but it's 10 countries, so you can't avoid the flying around in that situation. But for us, 54 countries, so you could be drawn with anyone. So imagine having to fly from Gambia to Seychelles and that kind of stuff. It does. And flying Africa is also a nightmare before we even get it. That's outside our remit. But, you know, there's a lot to be talked about. But I have sympathy for CAF on that front.
But then isn't that a failure on the Confederation's part?
Well,
and taking the easier route, structuring it such that it's easier for, let's see, countries that are close to each other to play, instead of investing more and then making the funds available to the other smaller nations so that then they can be more competitive. I think they have taken the easier route if I'm looking at it from that direction.
Yeah, but you see, that's why even you brought up traveling as a thing. Like, let's say you're traveling to certain West African countries.
So I get your point.
There's no direct, like, you have to fly here.
In 2022, where we've reached, I don't think this is a good enough reason, honestly. If you look at how far African football has come, I don't think it's a good enough reason now to be talking about finances and things. Yes, it makes sense, but I'm saying when we premise it in at this stage of life, for me, I don't buy it.
I don't disagree with you that we shouldn't be talking about it, but it is also the reality of where we are, that it is a consideration. So we have to give CAF that credit. I agree. I prefer for it to be changed, free for all. You play whoever you have to play, but at the same time, you also have to consider that not everyone might be interested in the free for all and play whoever you have to play. They might think to themselves, look, it's not worth it. I can't afford this. I don't want to do this. So it kind of rules some people out from the get-go if we do that.
Yeah.
So.
Before we cross over to Europe, I have to say this before we move. Black Galaxies faced Benin in a two-legged affair. Black Galaxy scored 4 goals. All 4 goals were scored by Accra Hearts of Oak players. It just tells you something. It tells you something. If you want to avoid the truth, it's looking at you in the face. But let's move on to the Community Shield. It's a curtain raiser for English football. It's the FA Cup champions versus the Premier League champions. It was Man City taking on Liverpool. Darwin Núñez on target after all the agenda pre-season. He can't score, he's this, he's that. First competitive game for Liverpool, and he grabs his goal. Liverpool beating Man City by 3-1. An impressive win. Impressive. In fact, both teams played very well. It was a very interesting game. Nothing short of what we expected.
Yeah, but I think to start with, there are a few parts missing from those highlights.
Don't worry, we'll come there.
Anyway, it was what we expected. 2 coaches immersed in tactics, good tactics going against the other. It was just like a chess match, and you could see that Klopp has learned from his mistakes. And as Manchester City tried to defend narrow, Liverpool exploited the spaces out wide. And you can see that from the first goal where Trent was literally in the inner part of the field and then the cross gets deflected inside. And the other side of it is that Manchester City didn't do too well offensively. Haaland himself didn't help, so he had some good chances which he should have bred, knowing the caliber of player he is. But then when Liverpool pressed narrow,
with a grin on your face, you're happy.
When Liverpool pressed narrow, you'd have expected the centre backs of Manchester City to hit more diagonals behind their back. And I think that's where they missed the player like Laporte. Ake doesn't have that naturally. And Liverpool exploited that and took advantage of that. And I think overall, it was a good game for Liverpool, but it gives Pep something to actually look back on. And also, you can see clearly that when Udinese came on, he had even more chances than Haaland because Liverpool were playing to his strength. They were trying to find him through the middle or trying to get it to Salah for it to get him to him. But Manchester City are still playing with the mentality of a false nine, where when they get to the bar line, instead of hitting across to find Haaland, they're actually cutting the back. And then Haaland makes a run, the ball doesn't come, he has to come back. So for Liverpool, it looks like they've settled in their ways, they've embraced the new plan, they're playing to his strength. For Manchester City, there has to be some adjustments they'll have to do to get the best out of Haaland. But I think overall, it was a very good game.
Susu, we are here again. Last season by this time, it was a similar conversation but around a different player. It was Lukaku. Whether Chelsea should play around him or he should try and adapt to Chelsea's style of play. Similar thing, and that's what Nubo is saying. Similar thing we saw yesterday with Erling Haaland. Was basically a passenger the entire game. He didn't look himself. He looked like he was struggling to understand what his teammates were doing. Where do you stand? Do you think he needs to adjust to how Man City play? Because this is a City team that has used this same system to win back-to-back Premier League titles. Does he need to adjust to City, or City need to play around his strengths?
I think it's a bit of both. You have to find a middle ground because Haaland is never going to have the technical ability on the ball in deep areas that you see from other players. It's just not his game. And that's why I always use the Lukaku comparison when I talk about him, Nunez and Lukaku. They are very similar in the sense that you can see they are big guys, they are very athletic, they like to play in the box. When they're in the box, they do very well. But outside the box, it's a bit shaky because you see Haaland sometimes when he tries his layoffs and stuff, it wasn't really coming on. Nunez, you see sometimes he's trying to do those things. It just doesn't work, and that's why I like to compare the fact that Nunez's movement is much better. Haaland's movement is also much better than Lukaku, for example. So just those things.
So what is Lukaku good at?
Oh, pace and power.
Okay, you can continue.
Yes. Anyway, so the thing is, when you're a player like Erling Haaland, you come into this Man City team that was full of excellent technical players. They like to play short, they like to come deep, play in midfield, and progress the ball pretty slowly into the box, and you're a more direct player. It's a bit difficult. So he has to drop deep, and he's doing things he's not too comfortable doing. But knowing Man City, they'll get the ball into the box a lot, and that's where he'll succeed. I mean, he missed the chances he got yesterday. Let's not say they weren't chances. The chances came. He missed them. It was that simple. So I'm not concerned about it because players miss chances all the time. I don't think he'll consistently be missing. If he goes on a 6-game run without scoring, I'll be very surprised. I expect him to score within the first 3 games at least. Worst case scenario. If not even on the first game, because the chances will come. The issue is he's getting to position. They are getting the ball to him. He needs to improve a bit outside the box, and Man City need to move the ball to him a bit quicker. But aside that, I'm not too concerned. There will be a bit of an adjustment period, and that's what we are seeing right now. So no need to be alarmed yet.
Yeah, we talk about an adjustment period, but it can't. It's not a good enough excuse for this. Look at this Haaland miss. Whether you're adjusting or you're not adjusting, it's not a good. What is this?
Well, that's why I said
Moga,
he missed.
you can't miss this.
That's why I said that's why I said the chances he missed them, but the chances came.
Oh, you see, I'm showing this just to ask you a question. We've seen a certain caliber of strikers, top class, world class strikers, come to the Premier League and fail to do the bare minimum. Look at Falcao. You look at Shevchenko. These guys have passed through the Premier League, came with all the pedigree that they came with, and it just didn't happen for them. And they were doing things like this. And you see, when you start like this and the pressure gets on you, it can be very difficult to start getting the ball in the back of the net. Typical example is Timo Werner. It's been 2.5 years. He's still not been able to find his feet at Chelsea because of, for me, I think the way he started his game and the pressure got to him and he's not being able to recover. So, Moga, you can't be missing this.
I don't like the Shevchenko and Falcao examples for it's very special because both players were on the physical decline when they came to the Premier League. And they were playing in less physical leagues. So if you are in Syria where it's less physical and you come to England and your pace is going, they have to hire a sprinting coach for you and that kind of stuff. And it's still not working. You can't compare. And If you remember Shevchenko, this is someone who liked to play on the shoulder, use his pace to get in behind, and he came. Falcao spent like a year out before he came, and he was now trying to adjust. He never really settled at Man U. Then he came to Chelsea, which was even strange. Like the guy had barely played.
And then he left and went to Monaco.
And then he started scoring again.
Yeah,
so
really there's something about the Premier League.
I don't. That's what I'm saying.
But
Those
then
two
how
examples.
do you explain Venezuela? Because he's young, he's fast, came from a league where they are more technically disciplined and everything.
I
You'd
would
expect
say
him to break
when I
through
watch the
at
Bundesliga,
Chelsea.
everybody's playing a high line. And if you are Timo Werner, you are usually the fastest player on the pitch. And the defenders are usually 40, 50 yards from goal. They are near the center line and they play a ball in behind. You find a lot of space.
But he was missing sitters. You can't.
But he was getting way less chances as well. You have to also consider that. If you look at something like his XG, for example, he was getting an XG in the 20s. His last season in Germany, he got an XG of about 21 and scored like 28 goals. He came to the Premier League and got an XG of like 11 and scored 6 goals. It's not to say he didn't miss chances. The chances he missed, but he also was getting way less. And the quality was also lower. He was getting a lot more easy chances. But if you see a lot of Timo Werner goals, go watch the 28 he scored for Leipzig in his last season. You would say about half of them, he basically breaks free. He's one-on-one. He has a lot of time to watch the keeper, see what the keeper
Exactly,
will do.
but you see,
he wasn't getting
when you
that.
see this, Thierry Henry says something about those types of chances and how difficult they are. Chances where you're a striker, you have enough time to think about what to do. It can be very difficult finding the exact decision to make and then to take it. But when it comes to those snap chances where you just think the ball is coming, instinctive chances, those are the easier ones. And those are the ones we saw or we've been seeing Timo Werner. Timo Werner is clearing a ball from the line when he's supposed to be tapping the ball.
Well,
and it's similar to what we saw.
Statistically, he defends him, but then the eye test will not fail you.
I
And
would,
if you
I
watch
would,
the game,
I
you
would
realize
say
he could be
Timo
better.
Werner, one of his weaknesses was always his technique. So in those situations, the worse your technique is, the less you are going to take those chances. So it doesn't surprise me that those are the chances he's missing more. Because if you are not a player with bad technique, you would want to have the time to wait, settle yourself, and know how you're going to kick the ball, which was what he was getting in Germany. Now, if you have poor technique and the ball is just dropping, you have to swing your leg. Your technique is more likely to fail you. And we watch Timo Werner. This is not a very technically excellent player. He knows what he does. He moves well. He gets into good positions, but his technique lets him down very regularly. So based on that, that's why when he misses those chances, it doesn't like, oh, he should have scored them. Yes, he should have, but his technique is also not good. So I'm like, yeah, his technique lets him down, and he's more likely to.
Bottom line, if Haaland is struggling to fit into the Man City system, he should be scoring these chances. Because two more of these. Two more of these.
Honestly, it's been one
But
game.
even if you look at the clear-cut chances he got, it wasn't like the ball came to him directly. The one in the first half, for instance, it was a tussle between him and Robertson. He gets the better of him, and then he plays. There's another one where
The cross came and he tried to.
I don't know whether it was a karate kick or something of that sort. And this one was a save which was parried towards him. And
I thought he should have scored that chance. I don't disagree with you, but I also don't want to make a lot of one game. It's one game.
Yeah.
If he does this for 5 games straight, we can have a conversation.
That's what
true.
whether it's one game or not, agenda will always agenda.
Oh no, I think it's funny to laugh at these
You are
things.
just happy having to Haaland and no Gavin. Yes, let's move on.
No, honestly, it's funny to laugh at it because the first game of the season, like I was having a fun time laughing at it myself. Like it's okay, it's part of the being a fan. But if we are being serious about it, it's not something you should take to heart just yet. That's why I say yet.
Just yet. We'll take a quick break here. You're still watching Scorecard on Citi TV. When we come back, we'll wrap up with some of the competitive games that we played over the weekend. There was a Dutch Super Cup, there was a German Super Cup, and then some club friendlies we also have. Don't go away. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. Welcome back. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. My name is Daniel Cranting. Just gone by, we're discussing the Black Galaxy's triumph over Benin in the CHAN qualifier, and then the English Community Shield where Manchester City were beaten by Liverpool 3-1. Very good game there. Let's wrap up with some more competitive games. Then we'll move on to some club friendlies. Bayern Munich, they were in action against RB Leipzig in the German Super Cup, as Darwin Núñez was scoring on his competitive debut for Liverpool. Ex-Liverpool forward Sadio Mane, the African king, was also on target for Bayern Munich as they beat RB Leipzig by 5-3. Bayern Munich 5-3 victory over RB Leipzig. Sadio Mane on target. I really enjoyed the Leroy Sané goal.
Fantastic player.
But is there an indication of what's to happen in the Bundesliga again?
Oh, I think the league is dead on arrival. I'm sure they will win it the 11th time. The golfing class is too much. They are way better than everybody. I feel like Bayern at this point, they take the Bundesliga as training for Champions League games because it's going to happen again. They'll meet either Leipzig, Dortmund. You think it's going to be competitive. They charge them 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. nothing new. It's like you're watching something over and over again. It keeps happening. Nothing new.
There's a movie like that. It's called Groundhog Day. You should watch it. It's a good movie.
But Bayern have been impressive. They've been impressive. You have to beat what is in front of you. They did that.
It's very simple. And I like that they had different scorers. 5 different players got their goals to show that there's, it's not a one-man team. Which I've been hearing them, they were complaining about a bit, that the team was becoming a bit too Lewandowski dominant. So they wanted to spread out a bit more. So it's an encouraging sign for a team agenda, like they are saying, because 5 different scorers is nice.
Yeah, Lewandowski leaves Bayern still going about their business. Just shows you what it is. PSV, they were in action against Ajax in the Dutch Super Cup, called the Johan Cruyff Shield. A bit of some Ghanaian interest. Mohamed Kudus was on target. It was a very interesting game. Steven Bergwijn carried in the opening goal for Ajax. Excellent strike there, giving Ajax the lead. But PSV came back. Cody Gakpo, that's what they call him. The name is Gakpo. It's not Gakpo. Cody Gakpo. Fighting across there, and Gostil headed in past the goalkeeper. PSV came back. That was 1-1. Then I think it was Till again who got the goal, or the second goal there for PSV. Another assist from Cody Gakpo. That's Ibrahima Sangare there playing a nice 1-2. Gakpo swings in another brilliant cross, and it's Gostil again. 2-1, PSV turn it around. Then Ajax came back. I think this was, Vindal with the cross back, and Anthony fighting 2-2. I'm celebrating like he's coming to United. I just like him. Anthony making it 2-2 for Ajax. At this point, it was anybody's game. PSV continued to attack. And this is what I love about Dutch football. It's attack after attack. And you can never ever get bored if you're a neutral. A shot fired in goalkeeper Paris. And Cody Gakpo is there to make it 3-2 for PSV. He was in brilliant form in there. Was it? Yeah, the Europa League last season.
I think United should sign him.
United needs to sign everybody. Gus still getting a deflected effort. That was his hat-trick. He made it 4-2. And then Mohamed Kudus was subbed on. Look at this goal. Look at the control. On the thigh, cushions it, half volley into the back of the net. Mohamed Kudus grabbing yet another goal for Ajax. He started, or in fact, he's had a great preseason. And he's continued. This is his first competitive game of the season. Yes, grabbing a goal. And so it was a double substitution. Kudus came on. Calvin Bassey of Nigeria came on. The Ghanaian scored, the Nigerian got sent off. And after that, PSV went on to add. Very disappointing there for Calvin Bassey on his debut. He didn't try. Yeah, this is Xavi Simons rounding the goalkeeper to make it 5. Yeah, he was at PSG. Ex-PSG player, goes to PSV, scores. Xavi Simons makes it 5.
So he changed one letter.
Changed one letter from PSG to PSV. But yes, that's that. Ajax losing by 5 goals to 3. But a very interesting game of football. Guys, let's focus on Mohamed Kudus. He's had a good preseason. He scored, I think, 3 goals in preseason. Then he comes into the first competitive game. I was listening to a number of Ajax spaces over the weekend before the game. They expected him to start. He didn't, but he came on and he got his name on the score sheet. Very good performance from him.
Well, I think it's a testimony to how good he is, and you can see from the quality of the goal he scored that he has the attributes and the abilities to be one of the best players in the league and one of the best players at his age. And that's what as a Ghanaian and personally for him, I'll be looking out for.
Yeah.
I think there were rumors initially that he would be going to Nice, and I was against it, saying that going into a World Cup, you would want to play in a more familiar league. You'd want to play with a league a team that has had faith in you. There's a new manager in town. You'd want to prove yourself in familiar territory. And if this goal is any indication, then it means that he was going to have a good season. The other side of it is, can he remain fit? And if he can remain fit, he has the qualities to be one of the best. So that's what I'll be looking out for. His fitness, he will get the game time and he'll be able to prove his quality. So that's one thing I'll be really looking out for.
I'm with you on that going to Nice would be a downgrade. In terms of league, he'll be playing a better quality league, but Nice have just lost their coach. He's going to PSG, Christophe Galtier. He's one of the best managers in France. So you are going to a situation where you are not quite sure what's going to happen because they're a new manager. It's a better league. You'll be playing in Europa. Ajax are a Champions League. They are always in the Champions League. And that's the best showcase for your talent. Let's play in the Champions League, show yourself, prove yourself. And truly, if you are that good, a top European team, because you won't go, not to disrespect Nice, but Nice are not a Champions League regular. And of the top 5 European leagues, France is the weakest. you'd prefer him to go to La Liga or England if we had and a Champions League team, one of those teams to show you are one of the best in the world. So I don't think there's any rush to leave Ajax in the sense that Ajax is one of the best teams in that part of the world. They are Champions League regulars. He'll play a lot. They get to the round of 16 very regularly. So he should stake a claim. Gravenberch has left, so I feel like there's a space in the lineup for him. So I think he should just make the best of it and keep going.
Yeah, that's Calvin Bassey, number 33 there. He didn't know he was about to be sent off in the next couple of minutes. But it wasn't a debut to remember for him. But moving on, let's now do some preseason action. Yes, Arsenal, the preseason champions. They were in action on Saturday against Sevilla in the Emirates Cup. Sevilla have also had a good preseason. They drew against Tottenham, played a couple of games, they've done well. But when they met the might of Arsenal, Jesus scored 3, Arsenal scored 6. It was a 6-0 thumping victory for Arsenal at the Emirates. Performance from Arsenal, Mikel Arteta's men grabbing 6 goals. And final game of pre-season, an indication of what to come next season. Friday, they face Crystal Palace in their opening game.
I think at this point, if there's any water in Arsenal or London, you can bring it to Jesus. You turn it to wine. Like he's been that good. And
yeah, you
can clearly see from his learning under Pep and everything, he has improved Arsenal's pressing. It's more consistent. It's more intense, and I just. It looks like it's coming together well for Arteta. Can they be consistent? Can they remain fit? And can they make the best of the players they've got in? Because it looks like if you give him the chances, he would score. But then defensively too, it looks like they are more solid. The guy who went on loan from Marseille is back. Saliba is back. It looks like he has a good partnership with Gabriel. Maybe they shift Ben White wide, give Tomiyasu some time to recover fully. So it looks like they have a full team which can compete. Then you can have that, but then you'd have to be consistent and then perform on the pitch. So Arsenal is actually one of the teams I'll be looking out for themselves and their North London neighbours Tottenham. But from how they've done well in pre-season, they should carry it into the league. If Friday goes south, then the question marks will start coming up again. Well, is Arteta able to man a team to perform in the Premier League? And I think he should do that with the quality of players he has.
So Nuwa talks about quality of players. What's your expectation for Arsenal based on what you've seen from the tail end of last season? What we saw them do going into pre-season, the additions they've made into their team. What for you will be satisfactory, a satisfactory position for them to finish in next season?
They should be challenging for top 4, but there's no guarantee they'll make it. Because remember, you have Liverpool and City, obviously the top 2, who'll be battling for the title. Then you have Spurs, Chelsea, the 2 teams that finished above them, who I think they've strengthened. Despite, I feel Chelsea fans have been a bit pessimistic. They have been a bit dramatic in saying that, it's all bad. I mean, we've talked to some Chelsea supporters we work with. Citi FM saying that they are ready to leave the club and find another team. I'm very surprised because I don't see what is making you guys the only player they really lost that is like a big loss. Lukaku was in and out of the team. Rudiger was the rock at the back. You bought Koulibaly, one of the best players in Serie A. So I feel like you've adequately replaced him. Christensen was very iffy for me. So I don't see, maybe you are light in terms of numbers as centre-back. Fair enough.
In terms of quality is basically the same.
But I don't see much because I don't see Christensen as a game changer in that way. This is a similar team. Unless they are saying last season was so bad for them. That's why. Because there
were certain deficiencies in their team which were glaring. I think their midfield wasn't as strong. Outside, if there was any game where Kovacic didn't play, you could see that the midfield was non-existent. And up front too, Lukaku missed a lot of games, but he had the most goals in your team. So there are some question marks in there.
But to stick to script, you are saying Arsenal will challenge for top 4.
Oh yes.
If Arsenal is challenging for top 4, then they have to make top 4.
They have to make it.
But Liverpool challenged for the title last season. They didn't win.
It's different
you can
because
have a good season and not get your objectives in that sense. Because it's not like the other.
So you are saying if Arsenal's challenge for top 4 and they finish fifth, it's fine.
I would say fifth is the lowest they should finish.
Don't do this.
No.
It's top 4
I don't think fifth will be satisfactory. They have to make top 4. It's about time. It's about time.
The other teams have also improved.
Then everybody will be improving every year.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
But I think with the less quality, if they had been a bit more consistent in the last 8 matches of the season, they would have gotten top 4.
Honestly,
so with a better squad, you don't have an excuse.
They should be making top 4.
Well, to remember, Spurs started very badly. there's also that they changed their manager halfway through the season. Arsenal never really caught. There was a period where they came a bit close to Chelsea, but Chelsea were for the most part quite ahead of Arsenal.
But Chelsea was third.
That's why I'm just breaking it down like those two teams. The reason if Spurs has started the season with Conte, I don't think they would have been as bad as they were for the first half of the season, and maybe Arsenal would have never even overtaken them in the first place. I'm just hypothesizing here, but we have to look at it that that Spurs had basically 3/4 of the season with Conte. He didn't play the whole season with him. So you have to also consider this.
I understand where you're coming from. What I'm saying is that if we go by this tangent, then nobody will be expected to do anything.
Yes.
Well, the reason I'm saying that, I feel like the other teams around them have improved just as much
Yes,
as
that's
they
what I'm
have.
saying. But I'm saying
That's
that, look,
what it is.
You can't have a team for 3.5 years, build a team gradually. We can all see that you are improving area by area. It's finally coming together, and you are telling me that if they finish fifth, but they challenge for the top four, it's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. Let me read some messages. This is from Prince from Dakoman. He says, he always thanks God when I predict against Liverpool, because when I predict against them, they win. Oh, then I know what I'll start doing. Van Dijk from Amasaman, he says, great show by all standards. I don't think Man City will win the EPL next season. He says he doesn't understand why Coach Boadu doesn't want Ansaboche anymore. That's Hearts of Folk. This one comes to no name. He says Diaz was very poor in the game. Kweku, rainfall inside New Abrim. He says, please, which of the Haaland did Dortmund sell to Man City? Is it a Lukaku type? Interesting.
You know, I feel like I've been unfair to Lukaku. He's been top scorer in his last 3 seasons for his clubs. Let's give him that credit.
Lukaku is not a bad player.
It's just
he
that
has very bad PR.
Yeah, honestly, like,
he has very bad PR.
Like, we joke about it, but
if you look at his numbers, he's as good as a
very
best
good
striker.
striker.
He's as good as a best striker. So his branding, Lukaku's brand manager needs to do a much better job, because it's not working.
You know, it's Rock Nation.
Eddie from Ashaman says we should watch out for Arsenal next season. I agree with you. Jason watching Scorecard from Nigeria. He says Haaland will outscore Nunez in the coming season. Wait to see. So it will be a very interesting battle.
I think that will happen.
Joy from Kumasi says that when Nunez started like this, you can't judge a player with one match. Dennis from Tadi also says he's enjoying excellent analysis here. He likes how each team and their tactics are being touched on. And keep the messages coming through. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll do some more preseason action. Man United was in action. Tottenham Hotspur were in action. We'll wrap up all those games coming up. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. Don't go away. Welcome back. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. My name is Daniel Cranting. I'm doing this with Emmanuel Nubo and Susu Graham. Let's go into our next game now. Let's talk about Udinese versus Chelsea. Chelsea's final preseason game. They went away to Italy to face Udinese. Chelsea won that game by 3-1. Job done for Chelsea. You can say that was very impressive considering what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. Defeat against Charlotte, another defeat against Arsenal. But then they capped off their preseason friendlies with this win. Good, impressive performance also. Yeah,
very good. It looks like the Chelsea that won the Champions League, they still have a bulk of that contingent there, and that's what we'll look to see. Maybe this will put their fans at ease a bit that there should be some confidence in come, but they'll still need to improve 1 or 2 things, and hopefully they'll be able to challenge for top 4 and the other competitions. But then I think it was a very impressive performance. But it's Udinese, but they lost to Charlotte too, so you can't say it's just Udinese. But it's not just preseason for them. I think getting to the latter end, you can see they can sense the league is about to start. They needed to be more serious, and it looks like this is the team they'll go into the league with, and nobody will be leaving anytime soon. So then the coach has a more consistent squad to build around. But
you know what I like about Chelsea fans? I think when you look deeper into their concerns, it's not the fact that this team can't compete. It is last year by this time, they thought their team was going to be able to compete for the title with Man City and Liverpool. It didn't work out. A year later, now people who are at the top want them to settle for competing for top 4. And I don't think it's enough, because the progression of the team it looked like it was going somewhere. From Champions League winners, you enter the season, it didn't work out. But by this time, they should have seen some 1 or 2 signings, and they should feel like this team is ready to challenge for the title. But you don't quite get that feeling with this Chelsea squad.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, last season was very disappointing, and the main disappointment was that there was no real goal scorer, and it seems like the only attacker they've added is Raheem Sterling. I love Raheem Sterling. I think he's one of the best wingers in the league. He was even Man City's top scorer in the league last season. You wouldn't believe it from the way, the narrative around him, but those are the facts. But the thing is, I understand him because Sterling, I don't think he scored, I think maybe he scored 20 goals once. So he's not going to give you 20, 25 goals in the league. If he does, it will be very surprising because it's not something he does. So I can see their concern, but Chelsea, from the future, I don't think go, they like to spread their goals around. And if you are getting more in the final third, you have Sterling who'll be a better attacker than anyone they've had last season, in my opinion. I think there's a slight improvement there. It might not look as obvious on paper because there's also the narrative around Sterling. I think a lot of people underappreciate how good Sterling is and how good a signing is for Chelsea. But I think in Chelsea fans' head, and also you are right about this, the amount of success they've had in previous years, especially under Abramovich, has given them a certain expectation. But the truth is, now you are being run by a businessman. Abramovich was a football owner in the sense that he was willing to spend. He spent 1.5 billion pounds of his money.
They need a change in mindset.
They need a change in mindset.
Start embracing themselves for things.
They need to understand that.
They need to calm down.
They need to be that the model they had for success was not sustainable in that way. Because the fact that they owed the man 1.5 billion in loans, which he's not even taking the money back, it showed that if he had called in those loans, they would have been in big trouble. Yeah. So they need to adapt to a self-sustaining model takes time. Because look at Liverpool. Liverpool is a self-sustaining model, but it's taking time. You have to buy the right players. You have to find the right profiles. There might be a few rough years, quote unquote, but rough in that sense, I don't think it's that bad. But I think Chelsea fans should be okay with that, if we are being honest, because that's the best for them, in my opinion.
Talking about reality, a team that is now, reality is beginning to dawn on Manchester United. They played a preseason game against Atletico Madrid yesterday. Atletico versus Man United. In the past how many years? You just know the score. Atletico won by 1-0. Yeah, so Fred got sent off. Man United played again today against Rayo Vallecano. The King played. We didn't change anything. United, they drew that game 1-1. See, I beg you. We need one more week of preseason. Because Man United is not ready. Man United is not ready.
It's not all doom and gloom. You've only lost one game in preseason.
It's not about losing. You see, if you look at the opening games of preseason, United were not facing teams who were up there in terms of fitness. But as it went on, you look at Aston Villa last week, you look at Atletico Madrid and then Rayo Vallecano. Man United is not ready for next season.
I have a small comment. He said the King played on Sunday. What did the King do?
I said nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
But the King played. Or did he not play?
Baby Goats played today, scored and won a trophy.
But I think maybe we
mind you.
I say that the players are still getting used to Ten Hag and all those things. And it's a new coach. She's trying to build a new culture. United fans themselves, maybe they got a bit carried away with how the preseason started. And they felt like they were going to win the league or something. But it's going to take some time. And they should be ready for the heartbreaks. There will be matches where it won't snap in. I mean, some of the new signings are yet to break in fully. One thing I would think United should improve at is scoring from corners, because last season they went about 100 plus set pieces without scoring.
Got a set piece coach.
Yes, yes, but I think with Eriksen he improves quality from delivery. So, and you have players like Maguire who are aerially dominant, so you'd expect them to improve the aspect.
I mean, he missed a very easy one in the highlights. So.
When Haaland missed, you said it was one of those. Maguire has missed. Say the same
I'm
thing.
just saying. I'm saying that the chances will come. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
Relax.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a big Maguire fan.
So that's something I think is one thing they should improve. But on the other side, it looks like they are thin up for it when it comes to attack. Because outside Ronaldo, I don't think anybody else is a proven striker or goal getter. And we already know the rumors surrounding him. So maybe this season will be more like a transition season. Maybe they may finish fifth or sixth, really get to fully understand what the coach wants to do. And maybe they can buy in some more players to fit the profile of what he wants to do. So don't get too excited. It's not that bad.
The fifth or sixth, no, you should do it sixth or seventh. Fifth or sixth. But yeah, Tottenham Hotspur, they were also in action against AS Roma. AS Roma is managed by their former head coach, Jose Mourinho. So it was Mourinho against Conte. Mourinho won that game by 1-0. So Roma beating Tottenham Hotspur by 1-0. That was also Tottenham Hotspur's last preseason encounter. The Premier League season starts on Friday. We will have all the action here. This is the home of Premier League, Citi FM, Citi TV, live radio commentary on Citi FM, the Citi TV show. That's the Premier League preview show every Friday. Previews all the upcoming weekend games. Catch it live on Fridays at 4 p.m. So we are ready, guys. Before we go, I want you guys to give me your top 6 predictions for the Premier League season in order. So you go from who will win to who will finish in sixth position.
Friday I said City will be first, but judging by how Saturday went, I think Liverpool first, City second, Tottenham third, Arsenal fourth, Chelsea fifth. Maybe Leicester, United sixth. I'll just
you don't need to please me because I've programmed myself for 8 or 9. So.
No, but I think United will come good.
Susu?
Fifth or sixth.
I think I'll throw you a curveball. I like the way Spurs are looking. I'll go with them for first. They'll show.
I think Spurs will win the league.
I think Spurs will win.
They struggle to break down Roma.
Don't worry. It's not about breaking
Roma.
down.
Roma don't have the best centre backs in the world.
Roma are not in the Premier League, so who cares?
So Spurs first.
Yeah, Spurs first. Now I'll go with City, Liverpool. I want to say Chelsea, Arsenal, and I think United. I can't. I'm trying to think of any team that can break into the top 6 and above
Maybe
United. I'm not
Actually,
you know what? I'll take United back. I'll put West Ham.
David Moyes.
I'll put West Ham.
David Moyes.
I believe in David.
You're
Moyes.
very sure.
Yeah, I'll put West Ham.
You're very, very sure.
I'm very sure.
Let's end because I can't take this anymore. Before we go here, PSG, they won their first silver of the season at the French Super Cup. They beat Nantes by 4-0. Neymar scored a brace, Messi chipped it with 1, and then Sergio Ramos also scored. Not that we didn't expect it. PSG winning their first silver of the season. Keep quiet, I'm signing out. My name is Daniel Kranting. I did this with Susu Gray and any man on Uber. We'll be back here same next Sunday. But yes, next Sunday we'll go back to our extended show, 1 hour and 30 minutes, because yes, the European seasons are starting. So keep watching Citi TV. This is Scorecard. We'll be back here next week. My name is Daniel Kranting. Take care.